Teruel winner Franco Morbidelli and title contender, of course, now. Stefan Bridle strong in the wet this morning in third ahead of Zarco. Marquez took a time. End up being actually, in effect, an important session of the weekend. Yeah, it's pretty dry out there right now. The rain has abated. You never. Here is Dovi. They're definitely slick tyres. You can see on his factory Ducati what's in store for invigorate that championship charge, which has stalled of late, hasn't it? 28 points he is adrift of this man in winning the championship, given the fact that right now he hasn't got the speed. That's the problem. Andrea Dovizioso said it's completely a lot here in Valencia, again on the right hand side, is the crash into turn 10. Yeah, I mean, we see that normally in there as well, because it's a fast old crash. It was an excellent start, though, to this European Grand Prix for Pramac Ducati. Francesco Guidotti, exactly what he thinks of their day so far. I'm delighted to say he's with Amy Reynolds in pit lane. Amy.
Firstly, explain to us why he's still in his box, in his seat.
Yeah, it should be, if it doesn't rain anymore, it should be much better in a few minutes, so we just wait for a few moments. Not really. He was, the feeling this morning was really good and he was pushing, but suddenly he lost in, yeah, but nothing special. I mean, the feeling was good with the first bike. The second bike was not the best.
Yeah, thanks very much to Amy. Thanks to Francesco Guidotti as well. Pecco Bagnaia, small tip-off this morning. Just not quite at one point.
Yeah, do you remember that incident last year, that bizarre moment that ruled him out of the Grand Prix, exiting pit lane at the end of that two-day test? It was one of the most bizarre instances we've seen for quite some time. He's just trying to pump the brakes, wasn't he? Get some heat in the brakes.
They are, as you would expect, on the money in terms of rivaling what we had this morning in the wet. Juan Mir fastest in the early stages with a 41.
Pretty careful. It's a fine, narrow, dry line. You stray off it on slick tyres. There are still a few damp patches to cause you.
Only 14 points. It is entirely possible.
Oh, there you go.
Juan Mir there, sorry, having a big moment. Points towards this being a pretty tricky session for the world's best motorcycle racers.
Yeah, you've got to be
moment in time in MotoGP. Here's a slow-mo replay then. Rear end just on a bit of Morbidelli, both in brilliant form. Both can win the World Championship. Wilco Zeelenberg is down at pit lane with Amy.
Just a few team thoughts on how things are feeling heading into these final races.
Well, clearly, yeah, every you have, and clearly they're all under more pressure than normally, because the points to give away, they are. Actually, it's quite exciting.
Like you just said, almost every single session counts now. We've got a bit of a tricky one right now into the troubles he was having.
Yeah, this morning, actually, he get out quite well, so the warming up of the tires went peeling from the front tire, and he had to let go a couple of times the front and go wide, so he was not quite pleased with that. Yeah, this is one of the problems.
Find himself up higher on the standings in this session. Do you think it is actually him to improve his time with these conditions? Yes, they're on slick tyres, but it is a bit iffy out there.
Yeah, they already are much faster, and then he's moving faster, so yeah, they are already faster with the slicks.
Good job, one of us looking at the timing screens. Thanks, Wilco.
Having just sat up, literally, one of his good buddies, Maverick Vinales, out on circuit. But Miguel Oliveira now goes fast. Number 88, riding solo for Tech 3, fastest with a 36.431.
No great surprise in the intermediate category, so it's a track that he does like, and he was eager to come and test himself here on a MotoGP bike, having missed the first corner in Phillip Island, which really left him with some serious shoulder damage.
Since his victory, of course, the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna, 6th in Le Mans, 6th again last time out in the Grand Prix of Teruel. And rather, you would think that, by the law of averages, by the end of this weekend, unless he wins it, of course, the likes of Thomas Farger and Miguel Oliveira, if they can get themselves fighting for a top 6 finish overall in the World Championship, that's an outstanding job.
It's a bit of a hash of the first corner. They've only ever had a couple of top 6 finishes coming into the season. One of them was here in Valencia a couple of years ago. Now we see a can't really do anything until they know what's the fate of Andrea Iannone. Jack Miller then, been a good day so far in Valencia 4 to gain of 35.258. Pretty decent buffer back to Miguel Oliveira in second of about half a second.
Fabio Quartararo then almost Dovizioso at the moment on a lap that might be putting him into P1 as well.
Yeah, Dovizioso into 10th place. Now it's been a great start to the weekend so far for the Pramac Ducati team, with Jack Miller leading the way this morning. Amy Reynolds has managed to grab a little chat with the team manager Davide Tardot. See, Amy, over to you.
I just wanted to check in with Davide at the start. How are you feeling into this weekend? finishing off at the moment. How is he feeling inside of this, or at the start of this weekend?
Yeah, we never give up, and this year is a crazy year, then everything can happen. It seems that Ducati are working good here on working mainly, but even...
There's been lots of investigation over what happened to the GP20s in Aragon. At the moment, do you have any answers of why they struggled so much?
The new rear tire works in the proper way, so we are, with our engineer, really trying to find out a solution.
Yeah, thanks to Davide Tardozzi. Thanks to Amy as well. Dovi was on a good lap, but it went wrong in the final sector, so he's down on around this circuit. Earlier on in the year, of course, in Jerez, a circuit traditionally Dovi and Ducati have not worked well at. He got himself a podium. Conditions here in Valencia, although you could argue that in November, you're never going to get perfect conditions here in Valencia.
Last night made it quite a challenge just to get back to the hotel. Quite a few streets cut off by flooding. No dramas though so far to the Italian team. Having a chat with Francesco Guidotti earlier, Bagnaia has actually now gone top at 134.
Back to his crew chief Christian Pupolin. He found it a little bit difficult just to stay, keep the bike on circuit. I mean, it would really kind of sum up this 2020 season, wouldn't it, if Dovi picks up two solid. This is exceptional. He goes up to 8th place. I mean, in the wet this morning, never been out on that Moto tyres, which he's never used. He's never even been on Michelin slick tyres before. He doesn't know how the bike works.
And look how committed he is. Look how hard he's put. He's got no experience of this motorcycle, no experience of these Michelin slick tyres, and he's out there making some of the established. He's going top of this, right?
He's up by a quarter of a second. Alex Marquez goes fourth. Let's stick with Garrett Gerloff. This is just brilliant standing work from the number 31. Love this. I mean, I cannot.
Oh, you talk about a ride that's just
fantastic. In the background, Fabio Quartararo will be admiring
Valentino
Garrett
Rossi's going to be hoping to pass that second PT.
Proper team, proper rider. What a lap. Another lap there. It's improved again. A 35.4 for
on circuit has gone up into 5th place, the 35.211.
Fabio rounds turn 13, estimated P1. Fair few Repsol Honda race winners here in Valencia in the past. Casey Stoner won here on a Repsol Honda as well, as Alex Marquez just loses a bit of time in the final sector but improves to 3rd.
Moment he's just putting together a good lap as well behind Maverick Vinales. Is this going to be good enough to take Rins to the top of the timesheets? It is. 30
is in at the moment. Alex Rins. Davide Brivio keeping check on his man. 105 points he scored in this 2020 season, and 45 of those have come in the last 2 races.
Rins and Aleix Espargaro. Aleix Espargaro right now still inside that top 10 as it stands right now. Kings turns 3 and 4 earlier in the race. He just felt this big pop and crack in his shoulder, and the MRI scan showed that since race 1 in Jerez, when he broke that left scaphoid bone in that warm-up session, since then it's been
yeah, in need of a good break, isn't he, Cal Crutchlow? Get home with his wife Lucy and Aleix Espargaro there, half a second down in 10th place. Pretty tight at the moment, despite the inclement conditions. Right.
Yep, the traditional fist bumps to all.
Soft front, soft rear. This is what Fabio does best.
How much risk he's willing to take in these tricky conditions. Well, he's gone into time attack mode himself, the World Championship leader.
The problem is, at this time of the World Championship, you can ill afford to be gambling that it's going to be dry as a bone here in FP3 tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and it's better. 3rd place, he'll take that at the end of this session. 2 Suzuki's now in the top 3. Rins leads the way. Mir gets down to a first flying lap on those new tyres to get down to for Mir. Although, having said that now, Jack Miller and Paul Espargaro.
Maverick Vinales, 3rd in the World Championship, Matt, has had to open a 6th engine, which means he has got to start the race here on Sunday from pit lane.
He obviously knew they were on the limit with engines. He was talking about pre-weekend having to limit mileage, limit time on circuit, and then the taking of it with the pit lane start coming. Maverick Vinales, he might have to do a bit of tongue biting later on.
Well, just, I would imagine, Matt, it will be... There's nothing he can do about it.
No.
It's just got to be a case of very best you can do with the tools that you're given. Listen, we have seen so much drama in this 2020 season, it could arguably blow. It's big news in MotoGP. One of the World Championship protagonists, contenders, is going to have to...
They're going to be juggling their engines, swapping them over, because they're all going to be high on mileage at this point.
Did a little while ago in the damp. One area that I was really fascinated to see how he got on was a time attack. We'll keep an eye on his progress. Proper dirt tracking here going on from Franco Morbidelli. He almost tucked the front on the paint.
Skills. At least all that time at the ranch in Tavuli has not been wasted.
Oh dear, and Petrucci's gone down. Danilo Petrucci has cracked here, and find out exactly what's happened to Danilo, who's sort of legging it,
Steve,
to try and get himself...
The yellow flags, because we need a heart rate monitor on Petrucci right now, don't we?
Turn 14 crash then for Danilo Petrucci.
Sorry, I just blasted Mike with sound. See a good track for him. We remember what he did here in a wet race was it a couple of years ago now? I think it was.
But no, 33.7. And look at Danilo, he's still going. He's still going.
Run, Danilo, run. He's going to need a little bit of a breather here just to calm down. I mean, you know what it's like when you're trying to run.
Danilo Petrucci doesn't look too happy, does he?
Another good job by the Repsol Honda man. He was briefly 8th, he's 9th now, because Andrea Dovizioso finally starting to...
Around the final turn then for Alex Rins, a bit further then for Rins, 33.5.
Now Garrett Gerloff has been punted back down to 18th place, which is no great surprise, but that riding around this Riccardo Tormo circuit in Valencia since he was a teenager, over 10 years now. And he's been on the podium and he's just over a second away. Brilliant.
Yeah, and in this time attack zone as well, this is the most tricky stage. It can be quite challenging. If there are a couple of spots of rain appearing again at the end of this session, the checkered flag is out. Improvements for Joan Mir. He's in 6th. And number 33, of course, don't forget, he's got to take the long lap penalty here on Sunday. And his battle for the... Not safe just yet.
Brad Binder coming to the party late as well here, the South African. He's picked up a couple of places. 3.157. Franco Morbidelli, the Teruel Grand Prix winner, now goes top, a 1:32.804. So he's gone 5th. So a great late charge from him, a 33.259. And what about Thriller Miller? He's going up. Alicia Spargaro there in 2nd place.
Yeah, and rather interestingly, that's just knocked Joan Mir for now out of the top 10.
Spargaro. It was in one of those wet sessions in Le Mans, wasn't it? Bradley Smith was quickest out on the Friday, so the Aprilia in wet and...
Into Friday, Miller, Alicia Spargaro, Morbidelli, Nakagami, Pol Espargaro.
By the looks of it, was that Cal Crutchlow? He had a look to his left, and you could see him with that clear visor. He had a nice big grin on his face there for his championship aspirations. The Aprilia camp, well, they're happy, and with some justification as well. There's Massimo Rivola there in the middle. He'll be happy under that mask, because Alicia Spargaro slots himself into 2nd place with a brilliant late attack of one. It would mean he'd be directly into Q2. Excellent day though for the Australian Jack Miller, quick in the wet this morning. He was 7th. Andrea Dovizioso, Fabio Quartararo and World Championship leader Joan Mir, they secured those all important. Back from a crash this morning, was 15th, just ahead of Alex Marquez. Zarco 17th. There was a late fall at turn 14 for Danilo Petrucci and a long jog back to the